connecting to the real nerds is so easy. You can go to our website, realnerdspodcast.com. You can like us on Facebook. We have a Twitter account, @RealNerds. We also have Instagram. You can call us, 720-6nerds5. You want to email us? You can do that too, realnerds@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and enjoy the show. Welcome to Real Nerds Podcast, unofficially the official podcast of Denver Comic Con 2017 and beyond. I'm Ryan, and with me is
James.
And much like the American Electoral College, there's only two of us today. Yeah. Every week on Real Nerds Podcast, we go see a new movie and we podcast our experience to the world. This week, we went under the spell of Doctor Strange. Stay tuned to the end of the podcast. Our last segment, we review the movie. We also spoil it, so stay tuned for that. First, we'll tell you if you should see it or not, and then we play the trailer, then we talk about the film.
Yep.
We also talk about movie news, Blu-rays that are coming out, and stuff we've been watching. But we like to start every show with...
Did you go to Hooters?
Yeah, I took my little boy there.
I just saw the cup in the last couple of letters and was like, what the fuck goes to Hooters?
He got a milk there, and that's how big of a cup they gave him, so I took it home.
Wait. So he got a cup of milk from the Hooters.
Yeah.
And it's like a 30-ounce cup.
He should.
Oh, man. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is what's playing at the Alamo.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Kevin Smith.
Hi, I'm Leonard Maltin.
Hi, I'm Mark Hamill.
Hi, I'm Elijah Wood.
This is Seth Rogen.
I'm Christopher Mintz-Plasse.
I'm Martin Starr.
Welcome to the Alamo Draft House.
I'm going to go ahead and skip to Thursday.
Yeah?
Thursday, The Wild Kratts is PBS at the Alamo. You can watch Arrival with a screenwriter, Eric Hessier.
Mm-hmm. That's actually for people who are top brass at the Alamo. So if you go a whole lot throughout the year, that's a free screening for top brass Alamo Victory members.
Nice. So. On Friday, the Mads are back with Frank Conniff and Trace Bellew. Saturday, they're also doing that at 7:30. On Sunday, the Breckenridge Brewery and Never Summer present Mr. McCabe and Miss Miller. So you have that to look forward to.
I don't know what that is.
It's an old Western. Come on, bro.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
That's what's playing at the Alamo Draft House. We also get called in from our Real Nerd correspondent in our New York office. And his segment's called Art House Asshole. And this week he went and saw The Neon Demon. I love art house movies. You can call me Mr. Asshole.
Hey, Real Nerd, it's Henry giving you an update on Art House Asshole. Again, in a bathroom because there's no quiet spot in New York. We got two this week because I missed one last week. First of all, last week's was I, Daniel Blake, which it won Cannes this year, the highest prize, Best Picture, whatever. I was actually kind of disappointed by it myself. That's just me, though. If you want my full thoughts on that, you can go check it out. I thought it was kind of bland, but read my review, and then maybe if you want to see it still, I mean, it won the highest award at Cannes, so maybe I'm wrong. Secondly, the other film that I reviewed this week that came out most recently was The Neon Demon, which has kind of been talked about on this podcast for a while. I will say that I did not like it as much as James, but I still liked it, I would say. If you want my full thoughts on it, you can go check it out. It's very complicated, this film. I think everyone's thoughts on this film are very complicated, but yeah, my thoughts are very complicated on Neon Demon. But if you want to see my specifics, you can go check it out on realnerspodcast.com and see the Neon Demon review. Anyway, that's my thoughts, and I'll see you next time.
I really like his review. Even though he doesn't love it as much as I do, but I totally understand why. It's just a well-written article that people should check out. So
yeah, I still got to check it out because
you gotta be able to chime
in my pile.
It's also just weird as fuck, and I want to know how you feel about it. Henry's going to be back right around Thanksgiving, so I think he's going to be on the show for Moana.
Cool,
which sounds cool. So
Moana's starting to get good reviews. So
yeah. I still got to reach out. I really want to get the Backside of Water guys on. So I gotta email them and see if they. Well, there's just one of them here in Denver. I just think that would be cool. So
Cool.
Anyway, yeah. Thanks,
Yeah.
Henry.
Yeah, thanks. Hey, we watch movies throughout the week, and we like to talk about them. This is a segment we call What We've Been Watching.
So, yeah, this is the stuff we've been watching.
I went ahead and hit it on the nose. Since you're fucking around with stuff, I'll go.
Yeah, my mic is falling apart. All right, cool.
I watched a couple things this week. I rewatched The Cabin in the Woods after you talked about it on our Film Explosion Halloween special, which you can download now on iTunes or stream it live on Stitcher.
Yeah.
So The Cabin in the Woods is a great film. It's one of those movies that you watch and you always see something in it that is fun. You forget how funny Chris Hemsworth is in it.
Yeah.
A pre-Thor Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
So I had fun watching that again. I also watched Scream Factory produce their own film. It's called
okay.
Fender Bender, and it's like
Okay,
a-
so a 70s car gets possessed by some kind of demon, kills teenagers?
no, close. Some dude drives around in like a old Ford. I think it's a Ford, and he
Sure.
purposely crashes into like females.
Okay.
And then he gets their information, and then he goes to their house and kills them.
Okay.
So like he uses their insurance information to go murder them.
All right, cool.
Yeah, it's an interesting take. I mean, it's not like a great slasher film, but it's a fun one. It's not.
It's at least not the movie that I described, which has been made about 17 times.
Yeah,
So,
it's fun. It's the thing with slasher films is you got to make them fun,
right.
because if you don't, then you're just seeing people getting murdered, and that's,
Yeah.
I guess for some people it's fun. I don't know. I like slasher films as long as they don't take themselves too seriously.
Right.
One of the I watched one movie that I haven't seen yet, and it's from this year, and it's Central Intelligence with The Rock and
Yeah.
Kevin Hart, and it's really funny.
Cool.
I watched the unrated version,
Yeah.
and they just say fuck a bunch in it. So
Okay.
they took out, I guess, and I think there's like 6 minutes added. I couldn't tell what it was because I didn't watch the theatrical one, but they say fuck a bunch.
I have an interesting question because I don't know that I've experienced the answer to this. How is The Rock at saying fuck? Is he good? Is The Rock good at saying fuck?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I guess I never really thought about it, so he must
Okay.
be.
Huh.
But in it, so the trailer, they play it as, The Rock was like fat in high school and he gets thrown out in the middle of homecoming
I believe he was CG in high school.
naked.
is what it
Yeah.
is.
And so Kevin Hart is the golden jet and he's like the coolest guy in school, and he sticks up for The Rock when he gets thrown out naked. And so it cut to 20 years later, and there's a high school reunion, and Kevin Hart is just some accountant at some building that, you'd see a lot of accountants in.
Yeah.
And he gets a message from Bob Stone, The Rock, and he says, "Let's meet for beers, bro." And right away you get a sense of who The Rock's character is. So he's sending this stuff on Facebook, and it's like, dude, it's the messenger. It says, "Dude, you got to watch it." And he clicks on it. It's set in the song with like a bunch of people comes on. Ooh, me so horny. Ooh, me so horny. So it's like, okay, I mean, I guess you're just going for stupid laughs. And then you meet The Rock, and he's rocking a fanny pack, and he's talking about how cool it is. And his T-shirt is a unicorn with a rainbow on it. And he says, "Yeah, man, the corns are just like the most magical creatures you can ever see." And he's just really goofy. And one of the funniest running jokes they have in the movie is someone will say, "Hey, Bob, what are we going to do about this?" And they'll turn back and look for The Rock, and he'll be gone. And just like throughout the movie, like they'll say, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And they'll turn and look, and he's gone. Like he was there like
Like
a
Batman.
second ago. Like
He's basically like the spy version of Batman.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then there's the funniest bit of that is he stays a night at Kevin Hart's house, and Kevin Hart wakes up in the morning, and in his living room where The Rock was sleeping, there's like tons of Mountain Dew bottles open, like Pizza Hut boxes everywhere.
Yeah.
And then there's a knock on Kevin Hart's door. He goes and answers it, and they ask if Bob is in. He's like, "Yeah, he's just in my living room." And the camera never stops. It like pans over, and then it pans back, and the living room is completely clean. Everything's folded and nice, like he was never there.
Yeah.
It's just goofy stuff like that. It's a funny movie. I had fun watching it, and I think it's it's maybe the most fun I had watching a comedy this year. I'm trying to think of another comedy that I even liked.
Yeah, Ghostbusters was
Yeah, I mean,
alright.
Ghostbusters was fun, but like,
But this is more a straight comedy.
yeah.
Huh.
And the last thing I watched is I was going to watch The Thing and Carrie, Scream Factory releases, but I only watched The Thing because Kellen came out it was in the middle of the night, but I didn't think it was appropriate to keep on watching The Thing.
I would
or
agree.
Carrie.
I think you could probably get away with Carrie because
Yeah.
most of that movie is just like kids being mean to each other.
Yeah,
You
until
know?
the end. But,
Right, sure.
But The Thing has so much like grotesque stuff in it that
Oh, yeah, no. It's
you
the
don't
stuff from
understand what's
Nightmares.
going on, and he'd be watching it, and yeah.
Yeah, no, yes. Thank you for being a responsible
See,
parent.
I show him Jurassic Park, but I draw the line on The Thing. But with The Thing, the Scream Factory 1, their transfer is amazing.
yeah.
It's a new 2K transfer.
Cool.
And it looks like it was shot yesterday. I mean, even what's cool is like the makeup effects even show up even better. And I haven't seen it in a long time. I forgot how much paranoia is in that movie. And there's not very much in the way of dialogue. It's just,
It's just who is the
it's
thing.
like a mystery, like who done it
Yeah.
kind of thing. And the movie's great. So if
Yeah.
you haven't seen The Thing, definitely see it. And John Carpenter says on the special features that it's his favorite movie he's made.
Yeah.
So
It's the best movie he's made.
I mean, you can make an argument for that for sure.
Uh-huh.
I mean, Halloween and Thing are great movies, and then he kind of didn't make great movies anymore. So
Yeah. Right. I mean, it's between those two, right? Like
yeah.
nobody's standing up, pitching in for Ghosts of Mars, or
the
vampires.
worst Jason Statham movie. Yeah, it's where vampires is
movie's
fun,
it.
but like The Thing is definitely. I mean, with the makeup effects are so great
No.
that it blows everything else away. It's
Right.
it's pretty
But
spectacular.
it is. It's that paranoia is so.
It's like palpable.
Oh yeah. I mean the petri dish sequence is one of my favorite
Oh yeah.
tense scenes in a movie ever. Like that whole sequence is so good. That movie.
And
is
Scream
amazing.
Factory, right? It has a whole second disc of bonus features, so it's about 3 hours of bonus features.
Yeah, I gotta get that.
So it's really well done.
Even though I already own the thing, I still like.
Oh, it's a huge upgrade.
Yeah.
The transfer is worth it alone.
Yeah, I could see that.
It's funny though. I was watching it and I actually saw Boom Mike in the shot at one point.
Oh no!
And I forget where it was at. I think it's right after they come back and the blood is like spilled out of the refrigerator.
Oh yeah.
And there's then they stand up and there's a shot of 4 of them. I think it like peeks in there if I remember it properly. So that's what I watched this week.
cool.
Nothing that great, but
Yeah,
I had fun.
yeah. Cool. So I've only got a couple of things. I rewatched Evil Dead, which we
Nice.
had talked about a little bit during the podcast or during last week's Film Explosion, which is great. Still love that movie. That movie is still super fucked up, but pretty dang fun. And I still I'm glad rewatching it that everything I said was still true. That like for me, I still watch that and get a lot deeper meaning out of it than just like, hey, there's a demon in the dirt and it's gonna kill everybody.
Yeah, and here's the thing too is so they have an unedited version of it now.
Yeah.
On iTunes or Amazon.
Oh, okay. I
But they
haven't seen
don't
that.
specifically tell you if it's the unrated one. So I'm afraid to rent it, if not knowing, because on iTunes when you select when you type in Evil Dead, only one comes up.
Sure.
When you select it, it says bonus feature unedited version.
Oh yeah.
So is there a bonus feature on it if I rent the original version?
Yeah. Right. Or do I have to go rent?
I mean, I
just
guess
that. Yeah.
it's not the worst thing spending $4 to watch it
Sure.
again.
Sure. Yeah.
But I want to spend
Why
money
is-
on one I haven't seen.
Why is there not a Blu-ray release of that version?
I don't know.
Weird. Maybe they just didn't think it would make much money.
Maybe.
'Cause,
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. But anyway, that movie's great. And the only other big thing I am still watching. Oh well, I guess there's a couple things. Finished *Halt and Catch Fire*, which is actually a couple of weeks ago, but that the third season there ended, and that show is man so good. There's slight spoilers for that for the season, but there's an episode, basically 3 episodes from the end. Shit is just going wrong for all of the characters, and the episode ends, and you're like, oh, okay, that was an interesting episode. And the next episode starts, I think, 2 or 4 years later, something like that. Like they jump significantly into the future to 1990. Because in this season they told a very like Steve Jobs getting fired from his company-esque story. The whole season was really about these people who have gone in have built these companies together, and they're betraying each other, but not intentionally. Like the season did such a great job of making you understand why characters were doing these things and why those things they were doing were so mean and cruel to one another. So it made it hard some episodes because you're like, you didn't even know who to be mad at. You were just mad that like it was happening this way. And so for them to jump forward a couple of seasons or a couple of years was just this really ballsy move where all of a sudden you've reset a lot of the expectation. And what I realized very quickly was it was a brilliant move as far as the characters were concerned, because those characters actually needed to go suffer for a while.
I think it is an interesting plot device if it's handled well.
Yeah.
Because if you go forward, you always have that lingering, well, what happened?
Right.
And then you want to see, if the characters are written well, then it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, and in this case, like everything was so down and was trending downward that when they jump forward, like we don't have to necessarily experience all of the terrible things that happened, but you get to see this outcome that you just don't get that in other shows, right? It's I just thought it was really fantastic. It was a really solid season, maybe even my favorite season, because even though it's not as much fun as the first season was, because it was so like dark and sad sometimes, it was just so well written that I couldn't help but love it. So finish that up. Still watching This Is Us, which I think is a really solid show. Melodramatic as fuck sometimes. Like there are times where they do stuff and you're like, okay, I get. There was even an episode where they literally used the phrase "This is us," and I was like, oh man, that was really on the nose, but at the same time kind of beautiful. But what's great about it is, much like with Friday Night Lights would have episodes and moments where you were like, oh gosh, like this is eye-rolly melodramatic. But then when it would hit really well. And this show is the same way. Like when they've got big character moments, either reveals or just things have swollen to a really wonderful emotional level, like it lands really, really well.
The show's becoming really popular.
It's really cool. They're doing a good job. So highly recommend that. And then the very last thing is that I finally started watching Westworld. And by finally, I think I mean I watched it along with everybody else, but haven't talked about it yet. So partially
What
because...
is it? I don't even know what it is.
Well, I will explain it to you. So
I know there's like a 4-minute orgy scene.
No.
That's what I read on Facebook.
Maybe that's coming up. So something to look forward to, I guess. For me, when I started hearing that people were really liking the show, honestly, I just got nervous because I was like, oh man, like every time that everybody gets crazy about an HBO show, I end up watching it and going like, this is overrated, right? Like I feel that way about Game of Thrones. I feel that way about True Detective. In this case, no, this show is really solid.
Is it?
Yeah. So it's produced by Bad Robot. It's the show creator is Jonathan Nolan. And basically what they did was they went and took the mid to late 70s Westworld movie, which is written by Michael Crichton, and made a TV show out of it. So basically it takes place in a world where, and we don't get a whole lot about what the real world is.
Do we have to forget everything we know about the previous movie?
No. Yeah. So in basically you're inside of a think Jurassic Park style world where people go on vacation to this small western town that is completely inhabited by robots who believe that they are human beings and are living in the Wild West. You can have sex with them. You can murder them if you want to. They can't actually hurt you. But basically you are allowed to sort of be whoever you want to be in this fantasy
like a
world.
fantasy.
Yes, exactly. You know, you could think about it like being on the holodeck in Star Trek, right?
Cool.
But of course, it's a Michael Crichton story where some rich dude built a park, so things are gonna go wrong. But the nice thing here is that it's not just like, oh, there's some asshole and he turned all the cages off. In this case, there's a series of things going wrong, and they're all actually, in my mind, pretty interesting, cool little ideas. And so you've got characters who are robots that we're following, that we're enjoying. You've got characters like Ed Harris's character who plays the Man in Black, who is, you know, a very Lost style, maybe a villain kind of character who we don't really know why he's there or what he's doing, but he clearly knows a lot about the world and he's been there for a while. So you're just following all these different characters as they're exploring the world. One of my favorite storylines is actually the guy who plays one of the main McPoyle from It's Always Sunny. He plays a character who is basically experiencing the park for the first time. He's a very when you go into the park, you either choose to be a white hat or a black hat, basically whether or not you want to be a good guy or a bad guy while you're there.
So it's black bad.
Black is bad. Black colored clothes and are bad. Black as a color is totally neutral and fine. It's equal, if not as good as white. Anyway, sorry. So he chooses to be a white hat and like wants to really be a good guy, and we're sort of getting to experience how intoxicating this world of Westworld is through his eyes, which is a really cool story. One of the fun things about this, and people keep bringing up Lost, at times in negative ways, which makes me want to jump out a window. But one of the cool things about this show is that they're burying some of the leads. They're not telling you everything. They're throwing you into the world and letting you learn things as we go. And so as a result, there are some pretty cool little like conspiracy theories online about like, well, you know, I think this is going on, I think that's going on. And that part of it is much like Lost, really fun to follow and to think about. But what's really great here is that the characters are really well written. Anthony Hopkins plays the Dr. Hammond-esque character in
Makes
this case.
sense.
And he's just brilliant. I mean, worth watching the show just for his scenes. When he shows up, which, you know, he's usually got 1 or 2 scenes an episode, it's like flipping on a switch. Like you don't want to look at anything else. You're just paying attention to how good this scene is. Because honestly, all my favorite moments of the show so far have been just him talking to people. Because he's so damn good. So, yeah, I think the show I highly recommend it. Don't remember any orgies. There is a lot of nudity. It's the one reason
Nice.
I can't just tell my parents to watch it is because there's
You
a
can tell me
lot
to
of
watch
nudity.
it.
Yeah, but it's there for a really good reason, because basically when the robots are not in the park, when they're in like the lab where they're getting repaired or whatever, they're always naked. And it makes you feel like they are extremely dehumanized. You know, like you really get that sense of how these robots are being treated. So that, of course, as some of them start to realize what they are and things start going wrong, you actually connect with them on a real level. So it's not, I mean, yes, there's sex in the show, but I have to think about it. I don't think that there's actually like a lot of naked sex in the show. It's actually one of the things I appreciate about it is that like, I'm so used to HBO being stupid about it, where they're just like, how about we just fucking throw semen in people's faces? And you're like, I don't need that. Like, this is not a show. Like, that's not what I want to watch. Right. And so sorry, Kaylan, I'm glad you're not really paying attention.
He's making spaghetti out of Play-Doh.
Yes. You know, so in this case, like, the nudity is there for a really good reason. And even the sex is there for a good reason, because there's a lot of people who come to the park just to bang robots. And it tells you a lot about who those people are, and it's having a conversation about, you know, in a world where we're allowed to just behave however we want to without any ramifications, how do people choose to behave? Which is a really interesting story. Oh, look at that, Donald Trump won. All I saw was winner, so I guess the news is telling me something.
South Dakota.
Right. So I think that's everything. I'm sure I'm missing something. I've watched plenty of stuff, but Yeah. Finished playing through Bioshock Infinite at some
Nice.
point in the last couple weeks. That was good. And then I just started playing Hitman, the new Hitman game.
Yeah, I'm playing too many games right now.
Yeah.
I'm playing Paper Mario Color Splash, Arkham Asylum,
the
Return to
collection.
Arkham.
Yeah.
I'm playing NHL 2017, and I'm also playing the new Tomb Raider.
Oh, man. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's okay. I really like Tomb Raider. I want that game to be better, but it's still fun.
I'm having fun playing it.
Yeah. You still get to shoot dudes in the face with arrows,
Yeah,
so
that's pretty
that's
awesome.
really all I care
I keep
about.
on upgrading the arrow.
Oh yeah, no, I upgrade everything about the bow first, and then
Yeah, everything
I
else, whatever.
don't give a shit about guns.
Yeah.
Those are only for when I don't have enough arrows.
Every time I shoot someone in the head and they're with somebody else, it just reminds me of Metal Gear Solid because you'll hit the guy and be like, huh?
Yeah. What was that? Yeah. No, that's pretty great. Cool.
Yep.
What do you want to do next? You want to do Blu-rays?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool.
DVD releases and Blu-rays.
I for sure thought I was in the Twilight Zone when I pulled this up because it was just like nothing but Hunger Games movies, and I was like, wait, what? Well, it's all the 4K releases.
Yeah.
I was like, these have been out for a while, but anyway, all 4 Hunger Games movies are out on 4K this week, so if you want to check that out. Sausage Party is out this week, so I'll finally get around to watching that, I think, I guess. I don't know. I'll probably see it before we do the...
Yeah,
yeah,
it's funny. You don't have to rush out and see it.
Is Civil Union funnier? What is it called? Central Intelligence? Is Central Intelligence funnier?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I'll see Central Intelligence. Daredevil first season of Daredevil is getting a Blu-ray release this week, which I don't know if that's a re-release or if they just waited this long.
They
I think
waited
they've
that long.
Yeah, which I mean, makes sense for Netflix, right? They actually have no interest in.
Yeah, it's probably, my guess is that they probably have a deal with Marvel Studios where they have to wait like a year or something.
Well, and I mean, there are people like me out there who will probably go ahead and buy this just because I really like that show and would like to have it on a non-digital platform.
I think it's pretty cheap. I think it's like $25 or something.
Oh yeah, yeah. And if it's got like some special features or anything like that, it may not, but and
you'll get true 1080 picture.
Right, exactly. The Rush Hour trilogy is getting a re-release with a pretty cool box art thing on it. And when I say trilogy, I really mean there's 2 movies and then there's that other one that we don't talk about. But those first 2 are real good.
They are.
Black Sails season 3 is out this week, which is a fantastic show. I need to finish season 3. It was really good, and then I sort of fell off.
I know you're supposed to bring that to me.
I'll bring you the first season. I only own the first season, and then I had Showtime, like I had a free trial of Showtime for a while, so that's how I saw season 2. But it's a cool show. Unfortunately, I was buying it at Tradesmart used every time a season would come out.
Yeah.
Which is no longer a thing in my life. The Goodbye Girl, starring Richard Douglas, is getting a re-release. So you can check that out if you're a fan. Red Dwarf Series 11 is on Blu-ray this week, so all the British science fiction fans can rejoice or whatever. I never cared much for that show.
Never watched it.
Yeah. Lone Wolf and Cub, which is a Criterion edition of an old Japanese film that is, I believe, somewhat made famous because it's in the Kill Bill movies. I think it's in Kill Bill 2.
See Criterion, they're 50% off again at Barnes & Noble.
Oh, son of a bitch.
So I already
go.
got some that I've never heard of before because they just looked cool.
Yeah.
But they do have the Guillermo del Toro trilogy for 100, so half off would be 50. Is a pretty good steal.
Yeah, that's really good, man. There's a 40th anniversary of Taxi Driver, which I will say is a Martin Scorsese movie I like.
Yeah.
Haven't seen it in a long time.
Yeah, I think it's all right.
But, I've talked many times about how much I actually don't like Scorsese. Not because he's not talented, but just because he tells stories that I don't care about. Taxi Driver is not that. I actually like...
It's kind of like Collateral.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that is a character I actually kind of enjoy, twisted as he may be. Speaking of twisted garbage, I don't know, segue. Kickboxer Vengeance is out this week.
That movie was awful.
So you can all experience what will undoubtedly be the worst film of this year.
I keep on going back and forth between that and Independence Day. So
No. Dog, I am not even entertaining that conversation. Kickboxer Vengeance is the worst piece of shit we have reviewed on this show for this year. 100%. Like that movie, I wanted so badly to turn it off in the first 6 minutes. I can't say that about Independence Day. I mean, I also think Independence Day was fun and dumb as shit. Here we go. Independence Day has Micah Monroe. This movie has no one anyone gives a shit about.
Okay, I'll give that edge to it then.
All right, cool. Thank you. I won a small victory today. Turns, Washington Spies, the
Keep on
third
meaning to
season.
watch that. I've never watched it.
Me too. My parents say it's really cool, and like they sat down and started talking to me about like what the show was. I thought it was like some weird, like I don't know. It looked not that good, and then I sat and talked to them, and they started talking about this stuff, and like they're like they didn't say Culper Ring because I don't think they actually say that in the show, but they're talking about all this stuff that really happened, and I was like, oh shit, they're really doing this. Like, and it was a thing that I always thought like, oh yeah, people should make a show out of the Culper Ring, and when I saw like the ads for it, I was like, this isn't what I want. Like, this doesn't seem right. But it sounds like that show is really cool.
I know it's based on the book called Turn.
Yeah.
So it's a real historical book. So we'll see.
Yeah, so I gotta check that out for sure. Arrow is releasing a movie. I don't feel like I've talked about an Arrow movie in a while. The Initiation.
Ooh.
The night new blood is pledged. They pledge themselves to be young, stay young, and die young.
Shit.
It's basically there's a guy holding a sword or a knife, like a dagger, with what looks like bile. I think it's supposed to be blood, but it's the wrong color dripping from it. Of course, I'm colorblind, so fuck me, right? And then there's like a pretty busty lady holding a candle behind it, with a glowy dark look on her face. So I think she's gonna get initiated to live young forever.
She's going to get initiated in The Initiation.
Yeah. But fuck all that, because Bubba Hotep is out on Blu-ray this week.
Yeah, I got that today in the mail.
Oh, man. Oh, I need to go watch Bubba Hotep again. Anybody who doesn't know about Bubba Hotep, this is a Shout Factory release or a Scream Factory release. That's a movie where Bruce Campbell plays maybe Elvis, and his best friend is Black JFK, and they live in an old folks' home where a crazy mummy is sucking people's souls out of their assholes. And that movie is really fantastic. He talks a lot about the like warts on his dick in that movie. That's the only part. The only part that I don't like that much is like the beginning where he's just talking about how much it sucks to be old and how disgusting his body is now. And you're like, but that movie is great. It's really a shame that they never made a sequel. So anyway, that is Blu-rays. Next we'll do news, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
It's real news.
Waiting for something.
Oh, yeah, I was waiting. Sorry. Yes. Hold on. So not much has happened in the last 2 weeks, but there's a couple things here. We got like the first little sneak peeks of the Beauty and the Beast movie.
Yeah.
Which I think looks cool.
Yeah, I read a whole article about it.
Yeah.
They're basically just making the animated movie.
Right.
But they're adding...
There's some new songs, right?
Yeah, adding new songs, which is fine. I mean, I think if you have that platform, the animated movie is already so beloved
Right.
that if you add depth to it, then I think you should win.
Right. It's just like what they did with Jungle Book, right? Where it's like, Jungle Book is a great animated movie, but then you're going to go tell sort of your own story, because they're also like changing some of Belle's backstory and stuff like that, which I think sounds cool.
Yeah.
Because, when I look back, I'm like, oh, yeah. I mean, Beauty and the Beast is a movie that I love, but I also, like, am smart enough to look at it and go, like, this movie has terrible messages in it. But at least some of the things they're talking about doing to give some more depth to Belle, you're like, oh, okay, cool. Like they're probably going to fix some of those things.
Yeah.
Don't fix men. So we also got a trailer for Wonder Woman, which is okay.
Yeah, I don't mind this trailer, but the one thing that's always bothering me about it is like, oh, we're trying to make it funny. Look at her trying to wear a dress. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Because it seems so forced.
She doesn't seem cool enough.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know. And yes, it's an early trailer, and hopefully this is the, it's an Ant-Man thing where they're going to put out a trailer that looks like a a big
Still
slip.
holding out hope for DC, huh?
I'm holding out hope for Wonder Woman because I think Wonder Woman is a cool character, and I think that making a Wonder Woman movie is a good idea. I am in the camp of, like, when I hear people say that producers at Warner Brothers don't give a shit about whether or not the movies are actually good, I totally believe that, because why would they? They make a lot of money making garbage films. You know, but the things that I'm critical about in this trailer, like the composite looks dumb, like it's stuff that wasn't present in the last trailer, like in the teaser trailer.
And I mean, when it's composites and stuff, they can definitely fix that stuff.
Oh, for sure. And I don't think, like, I don't quite. It feels to me like it's leaning a lot on, yo, dog, look how iconic Wonder Woman is. And that's not great character building. It's the same sort of thing that they've done wrong with the last couple movies, but whatever. It's still just a trailer.
Yeah, we'll see.
But, yeah, hopefully it'll be great. Speaking of things that I keep hoping will be great, there was an interview with Joe Carnahan recently that is the most excited I've been for an Uncharted movie in a long time. Anybody who knows, he came on to work on the script, and then I don't know if he's necessarily staying on to direct it, but he at least did a lot of script work on it.
Yeah.
And everything he said in the interview is exactly what I want to hear about understanding who Nathan Drake is, and that he's a rake and a sort of a scoundrel, and like he is a thief, and keeping to all of that and making a really great adventure movie. Like, hell yes.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, I don't actually believe it's that hard to make Uncharted into a great movie. I think it already is one.
Yeah, the meat's already there. You just gotta.
Right. You just need to cast it and film it, and you probably need to work the script in a way where you can, get the budget down.
Yeah.
Like, that's not that big a deal. Because you can make it look like Raiders of the Lost Ark. I don't give a shit if it looks like garbage.
Yeah.
Like, just make a fun movie.
And make the characters cool.
Right. Like,
That's what
people
matters.
will forgive any of that as long as it is a fun movie to watch. But it's just cool to hear somebody who actually gets it talk about that character. So anyway, I think that's pretty much it. I don't know. There's a bunch of other nonsense, but did I miss anything?
I can't remember anything.
Yeah. I don't know. Every article I see is just either like Westworld. Oh, they're not making Ninja Turtles 3.
Yeah. That's not surprising.
Yeah. The trailer for Life is really good. Yep. I think that's it.
Right. This week on Real Nerds Podcast, we saw Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
James, should people see The Good Doctor?
Yeah. Not my favorite of the Marvel movies, I don't think. I have a couple of little gripes about the movie, but nothing seriously wrong with it. Had a lot of fun with it. Everybody I went with really enjoyed it. So yeah, for sure, if you like Marvel movies, of course you have to go see this movie. If you're going to see a fun, adventurous, action superhero movie, I think it does that really well. And I think it does build that character and set up that character really well for the future. My gripes are minuscule little things, and I think the third act is awesome. One of the best third acts in a superhero movie that I've seen in a while. So
Yeah, actually, I had a lot of fun with this movie. I have like very, very minor things with
Right,
it.
yes.
But overall, I think I was sitting there watching a movie that's trippy and
oh yeah,
and you're just like, this is a Marvel
it's
movie.
super bold.
It is.
It's a really bold
and
film.
But they still, again, the most important thing is getting the characters right.
Right.
And I think Benedict Cumberbatch is really great in it.
Yes.
Tilda Swinton is really great in it.
Mm-hmm.
Chitwell Ejiofor is really great as Mordor.
Yeah.
Here's a trailer for Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange, you think you know how the world works? What if I told you the reality you know is one of many?
This doesn't make any sense.
Not everything does. Not everything has to. Through the mystic arts, we harness energy and shape reality. We travel great distances in an instant.
How do I get from here to there?
How did you become a doctor?
Study and practice, years of it.
There's a strength to him.
But is he ready?
Be careful which path you travel down, Strange. Stronger men than you have lost their way. I am death. And pain. You'll die protecting this world.
I can't do this.
There is no other way.
I've spent so many years peering through time, looking for you.
What's this, my mantra?
It's the Wi-Fi password. We're not savages.
I can't even remember if the trailer would be any good to anyone, like in just audio form, right? Because I think all of them are so visually
Again,
informed.
you have to forget everything you know.
Forget everything you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Kellen's down watching young little Einsteins.
Oh, I like your T-Rex shirt. Man, I want a shirt like that.
Yeah, it's so in it. I mean, does everyone know the story of Doctor Strange?
No, nobody knows this.
Okay, so he's an
the
arrogant.
vast majority of people don't know who Doctor Strange
He's
is.
an arrogant neurosurgeon.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was a neurosurgeon. I can't remember. if
He's
a
like Dr. House, but an asshole and not as smart.
And so he thinks he's great, and he gets in an accident that permanently destroys his hands,
Mm-hmm.
and so he has to learn to be helpful to people in another way. And
Well, he's terrified of like losing the thing that defines him and makes him good at what he does is his hands.
Yeah.
And so he basically spends all of his fortune and all of his time and really like just runs himself to the corners of the earth, literally, trying to figure out how to cure himself, till he stumbles into a temple.
Yeah, I mean he has like a tremor now in his hand, so he can't do neurosurgeon because he'll kill
And
people.
He did that really well.
Yeah.
Like you really, I mean, one of my second favorite section of this movie is actually that early part where he is hurt and Rachel McAdams is like that scene when Rachel McAdams comes to his apartment and he pushes his Microsoft Surface onto the floor, like is such a great, powerful scene.
Yeah, because she even has that line. She's like, "This is where you say you're sorry."
Yeah.
And he doesn't.
And he just fucking destroys her in that moment. Like it's so good.
It is.
And honestly, that part was so good that I sort of at that point in the movie I was like, man, you should have just started the movie here. Like, give me twice as much time with him just being miserable and just have characters tell me that he was great once. I don't actually need to see that part. Like, just have him. I just so enjoyed watching him suffer, which sounds terrible, but it was those sequences that were so well written.
It builds his character, though.
Yes, exactly.
Because my very small quibble I have with this movie, and I actually thought this movie was a hell of a lot of fun.
Yes, I agree.
Was I thought his turn was really forced.
Yes.
Where it's like, oh, I guess I got to fight somebody now.
Yeah.
That was meh. And
exactly.
That's my biggest problem with the movie.
Yeah.
But I can look past that because the part where he's like knocked into the astral plane for the first time, where they have like eyes reaching through his hands reaching through his eyeballs and shit.
His hands turn into hands that turn into little hands.
Yeah, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's
like,
so weird.
And I'm watching this, and there's a big thing right now. It's like, does it matter who the director of films are?
Yes,
it does. For something like that,
this
Scott
movie
Derrickson,
is Scott Derrickson. Oh yeah,
because there's so many weird things.
There's some really good little like jump scare, and some of them are even comedic. But like, there's little moments where you're like, oh yeah, there you are.
Yeah, because a part like that where he's going through the astral plane in the multiverse, and it's super trippy, and there's so many colors, and I can't even describe it. He's like being pulled into hell.
Yeah,
it's fun. And
but then you also have moments where he shoots it on like a handy cam, like he'll shoot dialogue on a handy cam, and super close ups where you can see the camera shaking a little bit, and it's just like it adds this tension and this almost paranoia to the conversation because like the frame itself is shaking around you. It's just cool little. I mean, he's really good at what he does.
And what's fun too is just like Ant-Man, where like the comedy is really natural in it. It doesn't feel forced.
Right.
I mean, I love Wong in it. I think he's great because he has like because Strange calls him because he only goes by Wong, so he keeps on saying Prince, Beyonce.
Yeah.
And then so the next time you see Wong, he's actually listening to Beyonce on his headphones while Doctor Strange is stealing all these spell books.
Yeah. Which there are like it's funny because between these movies they are I have to think it's intentionally like calling back to themselves so that there is sort of this cohesive visual theme to some of it, because that shot is the shot from Guardians of the Galaxy where the guy's on his Walkman and he sneaks up behind him, right? Like they're using a lot of the same little moments, but it just makes the world feel unified. And they're tiny little things that you don't notice.
Yeah,
but they're cool.
But it's things like that I think where Marvel succeeds so much is you can go into Doctor Strange cold.
Oh, for sure.
And watch it and still enjoy it.
Yes.
But there's little things like, the Marvel guys, you see Avengers Tower. Little things like that really help.
Right.
And, they tie it all together with, the Eye of
Agamotto, yes.
As an Infinity Stone, which, I already kind of knew, but...
Oh, yeah, duh.
But it's really interesting reading...
He has a thing that controls time. I bet it's a time gem. Like,
Scott Derrickson helped write the script. I read an interview with him, and he said every Marvel movie ends with a city being destroyed. So he purposely made an ending where it was being put back together.
Oh, cool.
So that's what he wanted to do with him manipulating time.
That's a cool idea.
And we don't even know the full extent of him manipulating time.
Right.
Because he went back, they say, an hour.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm sure in the later Marvel movies we'll see where that overlaps.
Yeah. Yeah. You also get some tie-in because I guess it's not confirmed yet, but it seems like Carol Danvers, the person he's looking at the X-ray of when he wrecks his car, people are saying that that's actually Carol Danvers, which is why it draws his attention. Which would be really cool. Like if Carol Danvers ends up showing up, if Doctor Strange is somehow tied into that story.
Because you go back an hour. I don't know when Doctor Strange is overlapping with the Avengers,
right?
But it happens before because his story, because they mention the Avengers in it.
Yes.
So,
but but they wouldn't remember it anyway.
Yeah.
So why does it matter?
But
it matters because he's fucking with the natural law.
He's fucking with time.
Yeah.
So did a villain learn something by then? I don't know.
Sure.
We'll have to see.
Yeah. It's certainly a pretty big power. So I have sort of two gripes with the movie. One of them is what you said, which is, it's got a lot of that like first comic book movie rush to it where, you get to a point where you're like, okay, guys, he needs to be powerful now, So he doesn't. Yes, he is training a lot, but they have to find like excuses to make it feel like he's really good and he's learning the stuff quickly, right? Like you don't really feel the time pass, even though they tell us that it should. It's a pacing issue more than anything, which is hard to hold against the movie because it's trying to do so much.
Yeah,
which is also true for my second gripe, which is I don't actually feel a lot of stakes in the movie. Because everybody is so powerful, and because the things that are happening are so crazy, when there's things like them running through the mirror dimension and the city's all crazy, and the sequence is visually great, I never in the movie feel like anyone's in danger because they're all, it's the Harry Potter thing, right? Like they're all pulling magic out of thin air and just making stuff happen, and so they don't actually have a lot of weakness to them. The great thing about Doctor Strange is that the character is the weakness. His power makes him strong, So the thing that you actually are invested in is the fact that he's an asshole and needs to not be an asshole anymore. But that's like my one gripe. And honestly, it was enough that I was pretty concerned about the movie until we got to that third act. And everything about the time travel, how cool that idea is. And the biggest thing, which they do a good job of foreshadowing, is that, Mordo at one point says something about like, no, like we have to fight these people because they're using power in the wrong way. Like you have to kill people sometimes, right? And Doctor Strange has this comment about how like, oh, well, it's just because you're not creative enough. Like if you were smart if you were smart enough and creative enough, you could find solutions to problems that don't involve anyone dying or like, or you sacrificing a part of your soul to do it. And so you kind of, when he says that, I was like, okay, guys, this is a tall order. Are you saying that when we get to the end of this movie, you are not going to have a fight scene between the villain and him where he has to beat up the villain and probably kill the villain or like kick him into the negative zone or something, right? And sure enough, they came up with a really cool, smart, creative way to defeat not even just our villain, but to defeat the real villain, which is Dormammu, the giant space god thing,
Which you don't even... I mean, he's mentioned in books and stuff.
Yeah.
But you realize that he's actually the one pulling the strings, where... Cassius, I think that's his name.
Hannibal.
Hannibal is basically a pawn for him in his dark dimension, and Dormammu is like a really powerful being in the Marvel universe. Yeah. And I even think it was cool, when he's reversing time and Hannibal realizes what he's doing, and he like turns backwards.
Yeah,
to fight. Is pretty.
And he's
sweet.
like, it's almost like he's sliced into. It's like that episode of Hannibal where the lady gets sliced into a piece.
But it's even great. When he pulls off, he's like, Dormammu, I'm here to make a bar.
Oh, it's so good.
I say, make a deal with you.
To bargain with you.
Yeah. And it played. It played so well in my theater. I went and saw it at the Alamo. It was awesome. And, but I went and saw it, and every time he came back, people were laughing.
Oh, yeah.
Because
that's really the turn where you genuinely love that character. Because he's fun, he's being sacrificial, but at the same time, he's outsmarting or outwitting this big villain. He's breaking the rules in order to get something done, and it's just really satisfying.
Yeah, because it's something different.
For sure, yeah.
And it's cool how they did Dormammu, because in the comics he wears like a purple unitard with a flame for a head.
Yeah.
So I mean that wouldn't work. So he's like a blue flame guy.
It's actually, I don't think this is confirmed yet, but rumor is that it's Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, he does a motion capture for it.
Yeah.
Which we know he can do from Smaug.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the movie's super solid. It's, I don't know where it fits into. It still ends up being one of the weaker ones for me. But it's not like that. That's not a tall order, right? Like so many of the other movies I really adore. That I would put this in the same camp as like a Captain America: First Avenger, right? Which is also a movie that has some issues.
Yeah, I still
but
think it's hella fun. And...
Oh, for sure, yeah. It's just for me, I hold these Marvel movies to a pretty high standard at this point. They've done such a great job that when there is something, and again, I'll go back to all of my criticisms. The reason why it's really hard for them to make the stakes like feel like they have some weight is because of the way that the script is. Like this character is super powerful, and so what they're presented with is a very Superman-esque kind of challenge to be like, well, how do we make this? And you can see them wrestling with it, right? Like you have him get stabbed and then go to the hospital and try to get saved, and then he's dead for a while, and he has a ghost fight, and all of that is to try and make him feel vulnerable when he can pull lightning out of the air, right?
Yeah, and I think as the universe expands, I think you'll see villains or other characters realize how to counteract his power.
Right.
Because I think, they even mentioned in the first post-credit scene, like Asgard. I mean, Asgard is technically magical too.
Right.
So can they kind of keep him in check? Someone like Loki.
Right. Yeah.
So,
yes, exactly. When you bring him into the rest of the universe, it it feels a lot more plausible. Where it's like, oh, okay, well, if Captain America's shield can deflect the magic space lightning bolts or whatever, like, then it gets on a level playing field.
Yeah.
But in this case, when you're watching like all this crazy stuff where buildings are folding in and all this, you're just like, oh, okay. At the end of the day, the most powerful person is still Ant-Man because he can go subatomic and then get bigger and blow anyone up. Like it's but still, I think the movie is really fantastic. They just had a challenge in front of them, and
Yeah, no, I agree. I think very well done.
Yeah.
So again, Marvel
yeah,
does it.
man. And then it is fascinating to me that like they've got your first post-credit sequence, which was really fun.
It was.
Like a really charming little moment. And then you get the second one, which is nothing but hey, we're going to make Doctor Strange 2, guys.
Well, in the comics, Mordor is one of his sworn enemies.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Well, and even the I was looking up because I don't know this, but the Hannibal character is actually a minion of Mordo in the books, which I just thought was really interesting. But I think that means that they actually spent this movie setting up what could be a pretty cool villain for a sequel. Because I don't know, is there a way that they use that villain in a different?
Well, I mean, I guess if he's taking magic away from people,
yeah,
you could use him a certain way. I don't know.
Does he could he be a minion of Thanos and show up in an Infinity War?
Makes sense,
I guess.
Because
he
maybe
could know
Thanos
about
would
it.
use him to steal the Eye of Agamotto or something.
Oh, there you go.
Because he knows his way in there and stuff. So.
Yeah, there you go. So maybe he just pops up there, survives those movies, and then you make him into a Doctor Strange 2.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to make that anytime. They're not going to make that before the Infinity War movies. So, yeah. That was really cool.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
Next week, we're seeing Arrival.
Yeah.
This should be interesting.
I've actually got tickets tomorrow night.
Nice.
If I can make it, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah. I'm really excited.
Yeah, it looks interesting.
Yeah. From one of my favorite directors of the recent years.
Yeah, he's really good.
So, yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Well, see you soon.
Yeah. This is the shortest episode we've ever done.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Weird.
All right.
Cool. Have a good night.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.
Real Nerds is a Nebulous Visions multimedia production. We would also like to thank Sparks Mandrill for our music. Additional music from Ben Sounds. Thank you to Alamo Drafthouse. Thank you to Colorado Coins, Cards, and Comics. And thank you for listening to the Real Nerds Podcast.